Sikolia.
Well,
are we going to respond? You see the kind of, you see where he's coming from. It's like, it's about the cost of living. Raila Odinga isn't just struggling about the Azimio supporters. He's actually now saying, Meshack is saying, well, it's even the hustlers themselves who are saying, well, the cost of living is unbearable. Even as we speak today, the dollar exchange rate to the Kenyan shilling is shooting off the roof. You're talking about 149, 148. Those are numbers that we couldn't even fathom a couple of months ago. So whether we like it or not, there's some sense of cost of living is just not for the Azimio supporters alone, like Meshack is saying. Does this warrant? And I could see exactly what some Azimio leaders were saying. They were saying, look here, this fight is not just for the Azimio supporters. It's not just for the Luos, as it's been coined by some sections of leaders in this country. It is a fight for Kenyans. That yes, you can agree that they can't fix it now. But then even when there's an emergency, you got to fix the emergency and then you look for long-term solutions. It looks as if Kenyans are getting told, you'll die now, but in 2 years, in 6 months, everything is going to be fine.
Let me ask, when we have government expenditure, who approves it?
National House.
National House, right? Mm-hmm. That's a parliament, right?
Yes, yes.
So when we are talking about, and when we're talking about now what we're talking about and saying there's been expenditure,
yes,
and it's been approved by parliament. We're not in a single party country at the moment,
yes,
right? Mm-hmm. So when this was being approved, what was happening? We've come to realize that, we will talk about it and we'll say, this has been spent and this has been spent. But who approved it? It was Parliament. I'm yet to hear even one member of Parliament come and say, I'm against this.
Yes.
We've not had that. We just had this money has gone. This money has been spent. The only time we hear about it is when we're talking about, the telecom deal.
Yes.
Right? Which happened at, and there's question marks about that. Because apparently, is it Jacaranda, I can't remember the name of the company, still holds the shares, and yet money was exchanged. And the question is, who took the money? And Parliament are saying, we are not willing to, to approve this payment, much as it was already done.
Yes.
Why can't we have Parliament say that about each and every other expenditure? How come Parliament, you see, we'll come and say, okay, fine, it's the president and his deputy. But they are also, the reason why Parliament is there is supposed to be able to check such things. So if Parliament, and it's not even been discussed, it means it was sent to Parliament and everybody was okay with it. Same way, if today you went and send, a bill to Parliament to increase their parks, it goes unopposed. And we've seen this time and time and time again. Yes, I agree. We are having a problem as a country. We need to look and see how do we solve the problem. We do not need to politicize it, right? I believe even if Azimio had taken, had taken leadership, we would still probably be at the same place. And the things that are happening, it's not enough. If you look at it from an agriculture perspective, okay, fine. For the first time, the other day I was talking to my dad and says, for the first time, I couldn't believe this because we went and registered the chief's place, and I got an SMS telling me to go for fertilizer. And when I went there, with that SMS, whatever has been put there, you're told, they put the number in a system, and then it gives you a prompt. You have to pay by M-Pesa. It gives you a prompt. So you're not keying in anything. It just gives you a prompt and says, key in your PIN, and that amount of money is taken based on the amount of fertilizer you've been allocated.
Yes.
For the first time in Trans Nzoia, that area, we're not having the many trucks. People would come. You're queuing here. You're being taken left, right, and center, and you're seeing trucks with fertilizer. Right now, if it's 5 bags, it's 5 bags to you. There's no paperwork, nothing. And you see, by the time you're doing that with you go, you pay for it, you go and show it, somewhere that, via SMS. This is, in fact, if we were getting together, right, and I was buying for you, or you had asked me to go, they'll still say, whatever money you have, put it on the number that registered. And that number is one that needs to be able to pay, because that's what's on the system. Is it working? It's working. It's something that's working that has not worked for years. Nobody's talking about it. Why? Because that's too small. I mean, that's fertilizer. Before that, we were talking about people could not see the fertilizer. It's now being seen, right? And it's a small thing. Okay, when you talk about fuel, I'm still yet to get to understand it, because we're looking at it and they're saying that, it's about the dollar, not about the cost of fuel. Mm-hmm. That's why the cost has gone up. I'm still waiting to see if it's a government-to-government deal. I expect, the cost to come down, because this is government-to-government. You've got to be able to negotiate in such a way that you bring not just talk about the dollars, but then bring the cost down.
Yeah. Yes.
So I'm not very privy to what's going on in that area, but then I've got questions for the government in that aspect. Why would you just think about the dollar and being able to make the dollar available, but you're not thinking about how do we bring that fuel cost low, right? Because I believe that they should be able to do that. Okay? I've looked at it right now. If I look at the cost of living,
yes,
where we are, and with all the struggles that we're having, we're actually still doing better than even Rwanda. And I know this having been there for like about a couple of months. And I was surprised to see, the cost of living in Rwanda, and I was like, whoa, this is a lot more expensive than I expected it to be. I'm not sure about, when you talk about places like Zanzibar as well, talk about Tanzania, in certain aspects, we're doing a lot better. Not where we want to be, but we're doing a lot better. If we can be able to get our people, our leaders, to be able to talk and understand that it's not about who won what.
Yes.
It's now about, let's focus on how do we help the Kenyans, because the people with the money, as you say, the upper class.
Yes.
Whatever the cost is, they will pay it.
How's that?
You're not going to find their kids in the streets. Mm-hmm. I'm told there was a student from Maseno who passed on yesterday because of the demonstrations. That is a life lost. Are we asking ourselves, what have we lost in that young person who's died and they're in university? What have we cut short?
Yes.
Right? So we need to be able to start asking ourselves, is violence and aggressive behavior the way to go? And this is a question I'm giving to both sides, because there's a lot of aggression on both sides. Right? We've got to come to that place where we say, okay, elections are over, we need to build the country. I don't care which side is which. I'm not, I'm not supporting any side. All I want to know is that I can be able to come home and smile at my children and say, tomorrow is going to be a better day. It was a good day today, and tomorrow is going to be a better day, because I can see progression. I can see these plans, and I can see both sides. People are supporting each other, even in being held accountable. Hold me accountable. Don't block me from what I want to do.